Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the TripleJump podcast. It's a video game podcast. My name is Ben.
My name is Peter.
And my name is Ashton.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. How are we?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. It's March now. Isn't that fun?
It is March, yeah.
March.
Lousy smarch weather. There we are.
Smarch
You can
weather.
say that joke in this month, which is, smarch.
It's supposed to get really cold, isn't it? It's supposed to
Is it?
snow. Yeah.
Oh.
There's supposed to be 2 cold snaps coming.
God.
Maybe this weekend and then maybe the weekend after.
It's
Apparently,
already a bit cold again.
Wales is going to get covered in snow. We might not get as much, though. But apparently, winters are coming
Brilliant. Again. That's great. It's not technically winter anymore, is it? Isn't it spring?
I think
Spring starts in
Mete-
March, I think.
I think it was like meteorologically spring on
Right.
like last weekend, but then the clocks go one way or the other in a
Spring
few
forward
weeks.
in spring.
Is it forward?
Yeah.
They go forward in a few weeks, so that's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I did think I was spending a little less on my heating bill this month, so it makes sense.
Mine
that
tripled
it's
in
time.
price. How?
Really?
Why? Don't know. Just did.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
You need to have a word with your supplier.
Or your partner who maybe has the heating
that's
on.
true.
Well,
He
what's going
he is
on?
home all the time.
Does he have an weed farm?
Yes.
Oh, what
He
if he
supplies
does? He could
me.
pay the energy bill with
You
it.
Yeah.
should check
it's true.
if he has an weed farm
Yeah.
in the loft.
Maybe he's making a loss on his weed
Share.
farm because of the cost of energy.
share the
Yeah,
weed,
maybe.
please.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, this isn't a narcotics podcast, but it could be if you wanted it to be. Instead, it is a video game podcast, and each and every week we're sponsored by a very real video game adjacent sponsor. Peter, you have the ad read in front of you now.
Great news, everyone.
Okay.
There's a video game coming out all in aid of rescuing tropical birds.
Yes.
You gotta look after those tropical birds. It's actually the World Wildlife Fund is branding it. It's all affiliated with them.
Oh.
They've saved now 21, 22, 23 of a certain kind of tropical bird. And the game is all about this 23rd one. It's sort of become the mascot of the charity.
Yeah.
So coming soon, WWF Toucan 23.
Brilliant.
You play as the toucan
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the campaign.
from the campaign, yeah. And you just, I don't know, fly around and eat fruit or something with your big banana beak.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you do you think the rescuers are trying to help you? Like, are you running to the rescuers or are you like.
Maybe you're trying to rescue further toucans, 24, 25,
Right, yeah.
26 maybe.
But potentially it could take up to a year to do that.
Yeah.
So
Unless
maybe
you
next
really
year.
fail, and then you have to take a couple of years off.
Yeah,
and,
that's
come back.
true.
Yeah. So if you want to play as a toucan for the WWF charity, World Wildlife Fund, then you can do that. But you have to play as the 23rd toucan.
That's so exciting.
When's that out?
Next week, I think.
Is it?
Or the week after.
Blimey.
Something
Soon.
like that.
That's exciting.
Early March. Except it's not 'cause it's not real.
Oh,
Oh.
God.
Got
Gosh
you good.
darn
I
it.
love
Sorry.
WWF and charitable organisations.
Yeah.
That's such a
Toucans.
And
shame.
I bloody love toucans.
Bloody love toucans.
Two can play that game.
Yeah.
Good
Can
one.
They? Is it 2-player?
That would be the strap
Is it,
line.
yeah, is it 2-player?
Yeah. Yes, it is. I've decided.
Or it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see any spiders. Just
No.
before
No.
we move on. So no Dead Island to the spider. Never mind. We are, of course, sponsored by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/Team TripleJump, where for as little as $1 per month, you could submit questions to this podcast. We've got lots of other tiers available as well. You can support us an awful lot and get access to some cool things. Go check it out, patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Peter Austin,
Yeah.
do you have a question?
It's from David Lever. Yes, I do. It's from David Lever. Hey, Obap. I've been playing The Pedestrian, a nifty puzzle platform where you play as the man or woman off of the street signs, all done in the art style of different signages.
It's a good game.
Have you played it? It sounds good. This has completely passed me by.
I think I saw a trailer for it ages ago, and then I never heard anything.
They added it on Game Pass like last year. It's pretty good.
A lot of
It's
people
pretty
should
good.
give it a go. Is it
Yeah.
still on Game Pass?
Yeah, I think so.
Go play it.
Well, David continues, it's great and well reviewed, but I hadn't heard about it before I randomly stumbled across it in a sale. So, with that in mind, what's one hidden gem game you'd recommend? Something that people might not have heard about, but could easily get a hold of. Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
The problem with doing this podcast is that every hidden James game that we've ever played, we do talk about on this podcast and say, hey, you should give it a go. I don't think many people have heard of it. But,
And also, my gaming tastes lately have been quite mainstream. Since sort of PS4, PS5, I mostly just play a lot of stuff that everyone else is playing. So most of my hidden gems that I'm aware of are from like back in the day, which again we've talked about extensively.
Yeah.
However, I do have one that I've played, which is available on Steam for only £4.99.
Bloody hell.
And it's a very relaxing city builder-esque sandbox game. There's no goal to it, and literally all you're doing is playing with blocks.
I know what game you're going to
Yeah,
say.
and it is super relaxing, and I mean, maybe doesn't have a lot of long-term replay value.
Is it yours or is it ours or is it...
No.
It's not mine?
It's not Minecraft.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not that.
Absolutely
Oh,
not.
blimey.
It's not blocks like that. It's called Townscaper.
Oh.
It's also available on Game Pass.
On Game Pass. Well, there you go. It's on Game Pass, so
Brilliant.
you don't even have to pay £4.99 for it. And the blocks that you are placing down are like a whole house. So if you imagine you're placing a house and it's top down, it's sort of isometric.
It's like a big ocean.
And it's just an ocean, empty ocean.
Yeah.
And then you pop down these blocks and you can change the colors to all the colors of the rainbow. So they're like nice kind of seaside town. You know, when you walk along a seafront in Britain and there's like all the different, it's like Balamory, all the different colored houses, right?
Okay.
And you just place them all down. And it's really clever the way that it works in that it's got this sort of dynamic thing where if you put certain houses together in certain shapes, it like pops them together and adds certain details. So if you place them in a ring, well, not a ring because they're cubes, a square, with a hole in the middle, it will fill that hole with grass. So it becomes like a quad in the middle of, you know, like a university or something.
Right.
And like houses that are one block away from each other, it will string washing lines and stuff between them.
And you can like build them up, and then you can like there'll be like bridges between two higher up bits that you can like put. It's really good.
That
Yeah.
sounds lovely.
It is
yeah,
a good
it is
game.
very nice.
There's
it have-
another one coming out that's like a castle builder that's
Yeah,
a
I've
very
seen
similar
that.
thing. And there's also one that I've recently made the demo for called Gaudlets, which is like a little like pixel art town. They're very similar. But there's like a train that drops off little dudes, like little they kind of look like the Stardew Valley, like what are they called? You know, the little
Little jellies.
Little jellies.
Yeah.
They kind of like
Giant
those, and they're
jellies.
just wandering around. They come to live in your town. Gaudlets. Check it out on Twitter. It looks really good. It's not out yet, but
Yeah, I follow the developer of Townscaper on Twitter, Oscar Stahlberg, and he quite often will like or retweet similar things that he's like that other indie developers are making. It's an indie game, I should say. And yeah, I've seen the medieval one a few times that he's been retweeting, and that looks really nice.
Does it have chill build music?
I don't think it has any music.
no, I think
No?
it just
if I
has.
recall
It
correctly.
doesn't have
but
just like ocean
waves
sounds.
and-
Oh, that does sound nice.
It is nice.
When
you
they-
could load up a YouTube video of the Sims one.
Well,
with
exactly.
build
That
music.
is what you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And when the
Sure.
town gets big enough, you get a flock of seagulls that just sort of flies around and lands on rooftops and stuff. And it's very nice.
That
So,
does sound nice. That
It is
sounds
nice.
really nice.
zen.
Yeah.
Ashton.
I have a few because I didn't read the one, so I have a few. But most of them I've talked about before, but I feel like I don't hear many people talk about them. Nobody Saves the World was recently left Game Pass, so you actually can't play that there anymore. But you can play it on Steam, and that's a good like two. I think it's maybe up to 4-player, but it might just be 2-player, where you can change into different animals and different creatures, and they have different powers that you can use to fight against enemies and do dungeons and stuff, and that's really good fun. I also really like Escape Academy, which is like an escape room game that I played with MB, and that's multiplayer as well, and you can solve puzzles together, and I think it's great. And also a game I've been playing on stream recently, people keep coming into chat and being like, hey, what's this? And I'm like, hey, what do you mean, what's this? It's called Tinykin. It's like a Pikmin style game where you're a little dude called, I don't know if it's Milodane or Milodane, but they never say it out loud. So however you feel. And you can control these little dudes called Tinykin, and they help
Like
you.
me.
Yeah.
I identify as Tiny Kin.
Yeah, you are.
You named your stream after Tiny Peter, didn't
Yeah,
you?
this
Yeah, I
Monday
saw
we
that,
got some.
yeah.
I did Peter's stream, and we got some new Tinykin, and we called them Little Peters,
Oh,
Tiny Peters, and they make
nice.
bridges.
that's what I would do if
Yeah.
I was
Build
a
bridges.
kid.
Build bridges, yeah. And they do different things, like one's into like electrical, so you can connect plugs and wires. It's all in like a big house, and you're like little tiny, and you're going around this like big like bedroom, and then a bathroom, and then like a kitchen, and it's really good. And I've really enjoyed playing it so much that I have to kind of really resist playing it outside of stream, because I think I've got maybe one stream left of it now. But I'm just like, hey, what if I just went home and finished the game and didn't tell anyone?
That's the tough thing about playing a game on stream. You're actually really into.
Yeah,
I sometimes play 2 runs in parallel. In fact, I quite often do if it's a new game and I'm like, I really want to play this. I start at home, get like 1 stream's worth ahead, and I'm just playing the game twice. And usually I enjoy doing that. So, yeah.
But yeah, I really like Tinykin, and I recommend it if you like Pikmin to give that one a go, because it's really cute. So
excellent. I've got a couple as well because I also ignored it, but I will focus on Kentucky Route Zero, which I did talk about on the podcast at the time. That was released episodically. It is esoteric and very, very weird, and already I've kind of sort of forgotten what it's actually about, but you will have a difficult time really following what it's about. It's set on the mystical, mythological, fictitious Kentucky Route Zero road, and it starts with you trying to find it and talking to some weird NPCs who are all a bit odd, and then eventually you track it down, and it's almost a bit Control-esque in that it's sort of populated by businesses and strange people who don't really know how long they've been there, but it's this ever-changing weird place. It's got a very interesting art style, almost like line art. I don't really know how to describe it, but when you see it, you'll know what I mean. But it's got a really surreal sense of humor as well, in that in one of these businesses that you go to, there's a floor that's just called bears, and you come out on the floor and all the bears just turn and look at you until you leave.
Right.
It's really weird. It's a very weird game, but it's got some really interesting themes. It's a real, like, you'll play it and afterwards you'll feel like you're really clever, even though you actually have absolutely no idea.
You feel like really cultured.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You'll feel like you've just played some art.
Yeah.
It was a really weird game, really interesting. You can buy, I think there's the TV edition, I think is what it's called, for all of the chapters bundled together, because they were released really sporadically, and I think there was a huge break in between some of them. Very odd game, very niche, but that's a hidden gem I would consider that I just played after hearing literally one person whose opinion I respect say, oh yeah, play this. This was really interesting. And then I saw it on sale and I'm like, hell, why not? I'll give it a go. And you know what? Stop calling me London, England.
I got a call from London, England this morning as well.
Always a scam, isn't it?
Well, mine wasn't actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I didn't answer it, but I Googled it and I realized, okay, I know who you are.
I might have to Google it as well. But yeah, Kentucky Route Zero would be my choice.
Is there any other ones that you wrote down you wanted to mention? Or
I mean, I always talk about Oxenfree. I don't really know how hidden gem that is now, because I mean, most people probably haven't played it, but I feel like I talk about it all the time. Golf Story is one that I've recently played. That's a smaller game, and it's very subjective, of course, but the entirety of the Wells Interactive back catalogue are all hidden gems if you're in the right setting to play them, i.e. alcohol and lots of people.
I was going to say as well, I just remembered, again, I don't know quite how hidden it is, but what was that? I've forgotten the name of it now. What's that Russian side-scroller where you're that...
Atomic Heart.
No,
that's the new one, isn't it?
I mean, where you play as the Russian...
I want to say Little
Orpheus.
Little Orpheus.
Yeah.
There's a little devil inside. It's one of them.
Little Nightmares.
Little
Orpheus.
Yes.
I thought was a little surprise, a little treat.
Yeah, it was lovely.
I was like, that's nice. I enjoyed that.
Really
you should also give the Pedestrian a go, because it's pretty good. It's like a puzzler as well. Like you got to like move signs to get to the right place to try and help your little dude up. It's good. It's a good game.
Nice. Well, the heat machine has just kicked in. It's time to move on to something new, Ashton.
Oh, yeah.
Something we may not have done before.
Oh, of course. How could I forget? It's time to talk about what we play in.
Oh. It's what we play in time. Time to talk about the games what we have been playing. Peter, what have you been playing?
Nothing new from me this week. Nothing exciting. But I've played a little bit more Clive and Wrench, only a tiny bit. I was entertaining family at my home for three or 4 days since immediately following the last podcast. So I've only had a couple of days to actually play anything. But I finished Dead Space. And I really enjoyed it, and it's great, and I'm glad that we're playing it on stream. And I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think of the ending, because I'd forgotten actually how it ended, and I was like, okay, yes, that is, compared to Callisto Protocol, it's more satisfying. I'll just say that.
Did you ever watch the end of?
No,
the
I'm still
Callisto
sad I missed
Protocol?
that. Need to go check it out.
Yeah.
You gotta watch the VOD.
Yeah.
Yeah, clearly.
So I didn't have time to play any flipping Hi-Fi Rush this week, but that is probably the next thing I'm going to be focusing on. Unless, well, there's stuff on the way. That's the thing. You gotta get these get stuff played.
Backlog cleared out.
Get it cleared out in the window before you know Resident Evil comes out and
Jedi
whatever
Survivors
else.
in April.
Jedi, yeah. So,
WWF Toucan
Toucan
23.
23.
Yeah. So, but yeah, same again from me this week. But I've enjoyed it.
I've played some Hi-Fi Rush this week. I've kind of think I did the next two like sections of the game that I was missing. Well, not missing, but I hadn't done yet. And I'm thinking I'm about 2/3 of the way through now. I've got 3 or 4 of the codes that you need of 6. So yeah, I'm enjoying that. Game's great. I really enjoy it. It's once I'd like put it down for a few weeks and then picked it back up again, I was like, how do I play this game again? But I'm still, once I got back into it, it was great. Played some more Minecraft and some more Disney Dreamlight Valley because I can't be tamed. And also finished Professor Layton and the Curious Village. I finished it on the Metro.
Nice.
But the issue was that it was playing like the end cutscene and I had to get off the Metro, so I was carrying my DS around with me on my way, like walk to work, watching the cutscene on my Nintendo DS.
Did everyone on the train clap?
No, they didn't. I wish they
well,
did.
see, that's not fun,
Yeah,
is
it is sad.
All
whole
portable
train.
game systems should have a button that immediately freezes what's going on, because otherwise you lose half of the fun of it being a portable console.
Exactly. And also, at the weekend, we plugged the PlayStation 2 in. We finally unpacked like the last set of boxes.
Nice.
And we plugged the PlayStation 2 in and also the iToy camera and played a bunch of iToy.
Oh my
for,
goodness.
I saw your
like,
tweet.
Yeah,
Wow.
we played for like an hour. Well, not even that because Ben's arms got tired after the first like game. We did the window washing one, and then we did a like ghost one, and there was a firework one. And I was having a great time. I was like a proper nostalgic hit of playing like the window washing one. And at one point at the beginning, it asked you to like make some funny faces, like smile or sad and do a silly face. And so I picked up my cat and I put her in the camera, and it's just great. And I just every time it came up, it was just cracking me up. So, and I'm probably going to play more of that this weekend. I got family coming up, and I'm going to be like, let's get the iToy out,
You ready for iToy?
family. Let's do it.
So that's what I needed when my grandparents were staying on the weekend. Just, iToy. Who cares about that NHS hip? Just get a new one.
Yeah, when I'm cleaning windows.
Yeah,
Just-
exactly.
It's great. 10 out of 10. That's what I played this week.
Nice. I have played 10 Dates, the
Oh.
Wales interactive game, the most
Yes.
recent one.
Yeah.
They very, very lovingly sent us a code for that
did,
and
they
about
did.
4 of their other games, which we're very thankful for.
Play it on your own or with friends?
Yeah.
I played it with people, yeah. Wales Interactive Senpai noticed us, and
They did.
They did.
they sent us a code for 10 Dates, which is the one Wales Interactive game that I don't actually own.
They offered to give us all the others, didn't they?
And I
already-
replied,
I
and I
already
was
bought
like,
them
all. Yeah.
thanks so much for these, but
Already bought them
we
all.
actually already have all of these. Thanks
yeah,
so
we're
much.
big. We're actually big fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, I played 10 Dates. And actually, I finished off Dark Nights with Poe and Monroe as well, which was weird and rubbish and didn't make any sense. And the acting was like all over the place. And so then going directly into 10 Dates, the acting's like really good, like really genuinely believable, even though the premise is still a bit, it's a bit cheesy. The 5 Dates, the first one, was done during the pandemic. So it was all done over like Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And you played as a guy who checked in with his mate after each date. This time you can play as a man or a woman. And you basically are signed up for speed dating along with your friend, whichever one you don't pick. And you chat with lots of different people. And then depending on how you get on with them, the only choices you make are basically conversation topics. And then depending on how you get on with them, you can ask them back for a second date and then a third date. And then it comes up with a suitably ridiculous end title screen thing, Abby and Jason have just adopted a dog. They can't wait to do something else. But the actual example I want to tell you, but I can't because it's a spoiler, is so absurd that it really made me laugh a lot. But the acting and the writing is pretty flipping good, I must say, for a Wells Interactive game, which, you know, I don't want to say that the bar is low, but I actually was genuinely surprised by how convincing a lot of the performances were in this game.
I have a question.
Yes.
If you pick the boy, can you date the boys?
You
I
can.
wanted that.
I think you can date a boy.
And the girls, can you date any of the
You can
girls?
date a girl. Yes, you can. I think
Just
you go
one
there.
girl, though.
You go there with the intention of dating people of the opposite sex.
Right.
But there is a same-sex option for each run.
What Ashton really wants to know is, can you be the girl and date the mums?
So,
Sadly, nobody brought their
is there
mums.
any MILFs?
Nobody brought their mums. However, it did provide the opportunity on at least 3 occasions where we actually had to pause the game and have like an in-depth conversation about, would this be a red flag for you? You know, is this behavior strange, or like, oh, I'm not feeling this is weird? Like, why aren't you feeling this? It was interesting.
Is there like one clear like good date like there was in 5 Dates? Because in 5 Dates there was like 4 people who were
Who had a
pretty
lot of
insufferable, and then there was one character who was just generally like a nice girl.
I think
Yaz from Doctor Who.
they all
Was
have.
it actually her? Oh, really?
I think
Yeah,
they
she's
all
in
have
5
their
Dates.
positives and benefits depending on what you want. Some are definitely more obnoxious than others in sort of a cartoonish way. And ultimately, you know, you're going into this game with your tongue firmly in your cheek. You know exactly
Yeah.
what this kind of game is. But I think it's at least twice as good as 5 Days.
Well, there you go.
And,
That's the math.
and I really enjoyed it. Roll on, Mia and the Dragon
I'm
Princess,
so excited.
which is their next one.
So weird.
That they've been teasing on Twitter, and it looks absolutely unhinged.
I just
can't
love
wait.
that they keep teasing it on Twitter with just these most unhinged,
She hasn't paid for her spring roll.
out of context clips of just this main character just scranning chocolate out of a
Chocolate.
pocket, or like
Yeah.
spring. I just can't wait.
Oh,
I'm
it's
so
going to be
excited.
so mental. It's really good. Anyway, beyond that, the main thing I've been playing is a lot of Gotham Knights. And, you know, I said last week I really wanted to get to the point where I just had mindless objectives to do over and over again so I could have some smooth brain time. I am well and truly in that, and I'm having a great time.
Nice.
Bearing in mind that for similar reasons, I really enjoyed the Saints Row reboot, which was not a good game, but it just sort of came along at the right time where I was actually really enjoying doing something that wasn't too mentally taxing. And man, this game is like really polished, and I think it's really pretty as well, but it's not running at 60 frames, which is a bit of a shame, and it does stutter from time to time. But on the whole, this is one of those rare occurrences where a big game has come out and it's not a technical mess, it's just they've made some bad decisions in
Right.
development, and that's why it's not reviewed very well. I haven't played any of it in co-op. I have actually now started switching between each of the different characters because I don't think the game does a very good job of explaining really that you don't have to pick one person and play with them throughout.
Right.
And when I was looking up online, you know, I actually just searched on Reddit, should I like be switching characters? And people were saying, oh, I switch every single night. Because the way it's set up is you've got the Belfry as your center of operations.
Right.
And every time you go out into the city, that counts as you going on patrol for the night. And there's the usual sort of tedious things like, oh, all the crimes have reset. You want to go stop loads of crimes again? And then there'll be some actual story stuff to do as well. And people were switching up who they were playing as each night. And I thought that's a really nice approach. And also the case files, which are the sort of more villain-centric ones, people had assigned case files themselves to the different the different heroes. So like, oh, Robin faces off against this person
working
whenever
on
they're
that.
available,
Yeah.
which I think is a nice approach, especially considering you actually share levels between the characters.
That's
Right.
good.
You don't share blueprints, which is how you craft better gear, which is kind of annoying. So you could be running around, even though you're level 20, you could be running around with like level 7 gear until you next go outside as Nightwing. But I am, again, grain of salt, because I'm in smooth brain mode at the moment. I want a smooth brain game. I'm genuinely really enjoying this. I think it's a real shame that they decided to adopt this approach with the game, it being that kind of not live service, but sort of taking elements of that where you've got the enemies have health bars and you hit them and numbers come off, and you've got the incremental gear, and you go out and you do a lot of the same stuff over and over again before you can do the next main story. But I think like the quality of the acting is pretty good. The voice acting, the performances are good. I'm enjoying the story and the mystery of like who's responsible for Batman's death and what was he investigating. Don't know if they're going to land it, but yeah, on the whole, I'm liking it. I think some of the presentation of the superheroes is a bit weird because they're trying to, I think, make them all likable. But I've seen super gruff bad boy who has died and come back to life, Red Hood, dance twice now. And
he just likes to boogie.
He just loves to boogie. He's got so much trauma, but he loves to dance.
He came back from the dead and he was like, life's too short. It's time to dance.
It's time to strut my stuff.
I didn't dance enough in my
it's
first
time
life.
to strut my stuff. So I can already predict the sort of reaction from the hardcore comic book crowd who are like, "This is outrageous! How
He would never dance.
How dare they?" But it's actually, and I sent a link to Ashton earlier because you're interested in playing it with YB.
If I can convince him.
If you can convince him. But Gotham Knights is included in the latest Humble Bundle, where you get loads and loads of games for $30. So if you want in on PC, that might be a way to do it. But yeah, I'm enjoying Gotham Knights, and it's just like some real switch your brain off entertainment. I'm having a good time.
Nice.
I must say.
Well, time for question 2 then, I think. Comes from Callum Anderson. Hello, Bap. Recently, upon chatting to a friend about gaming, we got to the subject of our do's and don'ts whilst playing. Perhaps wills and won'ts is more appropriate. And then Callum did put a lot more in, and I cut a bit out because those were our answers. So
yeah, Callum ended up giving such good examples.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, those are actually all, all of ours.
So if you're on Patreon, you can read the full question. But Callum, you were too good. We had to cut it out.
Yeah.
My question for you 3 lovely people is what are some of your in-game do's/don'ts/wills/won'ts? Much love from Cal Kiss Kiss.
Thank you, Cal Kiss Kiss.
Thank you, Cal.
So Cal mentioned some like
Mr. Kiss Kiss.
Yeah, some actual sort of in-game stuff, and then some stuff that was a bit more meta. So I brought a bit of both. Should we do all our do's first, and then do all our don'ts?
Sure.
If you like.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. All right. So my do's/wills. I will always engage with, or almost always engage with, stealth encounters. If I come up on a camp or something, I actively thoroughly enjoy sneaking through the long grass and trying to like take everyone out, choke them all out without raising the alarm. I don't mind if I do raise the alarm. I'm not going to reset it or anything, but I will always go for my stealth kills in Uncharted or in Spider-Man or whatever. Something strange that I've talked about before, this is a bit weird. I always play, unless I'm maybe replaying a game for like the 3rd or 4th time, I will always play according to in-universe logic. So the only example I can think of immediately is that in Spyro the Dragon, there is a secret level in the first world, and you can actually open it straight away if you know to jump on the stepping stones, but you don't get told that until the 3rd world. And I always leave that first level. I leave it until I've been told, oh, if you jump on the stepping stones, you can unlock the secret level in the Artisan's World. And I will always go back and then do it. And I do that a lot with games. Like if I'm playing through an RPG or something and I know I might know a password for a computer or something because it doesn't change from game to game, I wait until I've found the note or something. It's just a kind of immersive way of playing, I guess. I always enable subtitles. That's a sort of meta one, but I always play with subtitles on.
Me too.
And then I will also, in a 3D platformer, for example, I will always 100% levels before exiting. So when I was a kid, I would obviously just like grab what I can and then leave and then think, I'll come back later. But if it's a collectathon and everything is available, you don't need some sort of ability and you have to backtrack later in the game, I will grab everything I can, clear out the entire level, and then it means that I always end up just visiting one level, each level once per run, which is a bit sad in a way because when you play those games when you're a child, you sort of you're rocking all over the world, revisiting places, and you get to know it a bit more. But I'm in and out in 5 minutes, and then on to the next one. But that's what I do. Ashton, what do you do?
I always, or as much as I can in games, try to match my outfits or like character looks to the area that I'm in. So when I played Horizon, I would like transmog. That's the
That's it.
I would change the way that certain armors looked to match like the certain place that I'm in. So if I was in like the Kaja area, I'd wear a Kaja outfit. If I was in the Nora area, I'd wear a Nora outfit, just so I could fit in. And also, more recently with Jedi Fallen Order, I've been changing Cal's outfits to match BD1. Like, they don't match together. They're like the father and son duo, and
nice.
they'd both be matching clothes. And also, I'd put them in an outfit that fit. So if it was in like the forest, put him in green because he's in
Green
the forest.
poncho.
And if he was in like the base, put him in white because he's in the base, and then he fits in. I do that all the time. And also, I always latch on to a character in an RPG or like an open world game. I'll always latch on to one character, and even if like someone else got something to say, I'll always go to them first to see what they've got to say and just double. Have you got any extra voice lines I haven't heard? No. Okay, I'll come back later to see if you've got anything else to say. So that's what I will always do.
Subtitles are always on, as Peter
Yes.
said. I will always usually look at accessibility stuff because there are a lot of games now. Gotham Knights have done it for this as well, where you have to hammer X or hold X to interact with stuff, and I just can't be bothered. It's purely a laziness thing. If there's an option to change it to tap to interact with stuff, that's what, like, you just press it once and then it does it for you. That will always be my preference. When we get onto our don'ts as well, I'll mention this now. I normally, if it's a game that I'm like really excited about, like Horizon for you, for example, where you're going so far as to like dress appropriately in each area, and I'm really trying to get into the experience, I tend not to mess around with the settings too much. Like I try to play it as seriously as possible, if that makes sense, like closest to the developer's vision. The further removed I get from that, like in Gotham Knights, the more I'm like, hold forward is auto sprint. Sure, just saves me having to press L3, I suppose. I tend to mess around a bit more. It's literally because I don't care as much, but it's not that I don't care at all. Otherwise, I wouldn't play it, obviously. One thing I always do is I will, in games where I can be a stealthy character or a big burly smash everything character, I will min-max. As in, I will either be full stealth or I will be full run in and destroy everything with a blink of my eye, because going down the middle it's not any fun. So yeah, those are a few of my do's.
I don't or won't craft consumables if I can do anything about it.
Me neither.
I do not want to be picking herbs and like using just stuff that I have like, 3 of these potions. And if you use it, you got 2 left. Oh, you got 1 left. If I have to craft health items because I really need them, then I'll do that. But if it's like buffs and like poison or bleed to apply to an enemy, no thanks. I'm all right. I don't, if I can help it, I don't like to fast travel in sort of, there's not a specific point, but maybe like the first act of a game, like the first third. If it's a massive game and it is going to take me flipping ages to walk to where I'm going to go, then I'll do the odd fast travel. But I like to explore and like uncover the world initially, even if a game is saying, you can fast travel to all the major cities, for example, in like an Elder Scrolls game. I would rather walk to those places at least on my first couple of visits. I won't use guides unless I'm literally banging my head against a wall in a puzzle, and I've been there for 10 minutes and I'm I'm literally missing a piece of this puzzle. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But I don't think I've had to use a guide. I used a guide once recently for a puzzle in a game. I can't remember what it was. And then before then, I've probably not used a guide in a couple of years, I think. I don't skip cutscenes, hardly ever. Even with a game that I've played over and over and over again, I pretty much will watch cutscenes all the way through. And then I don't think I've ever possibly bought a microtransaction. I don't think I've ever microtransacted in a game, as far as I'm aware. I think we were asked this recently, and my answer was, I never have. I don't know. Maybe once or twice, but I don't think I have really.
No, I don't think so either. I also don't craft things, consumables or one-use traps. Nothing. no thanks. I will forget that you're there. If you're not an active weapon in my weapon wheel, you're not getting used.
Yeah.
And I can't be asked. In like Horizon, I never bother to make traps. Everyone's like, oh, traps are so useful. No thanks. No thanks. I haven't got the skills to set those up and sort them out. I also really, really hate when games make me have to modify weapons, and I never do that. Like if it's like, if you add an extra sight, you'll get a zoom lens. No thanks. Just do it for me. Give me a good gun. I don't want to have to think about that because I'm stupid and I don't understand all these stats. Just give me a gun that I don't have to worry about. I also never parry. Can't do it, so I don't bother. I just keep hitting, and if I die, I die. I just can't be bothered to I don't know how to do it. I'm really bad at timing them. Similarly, I also don't combo attacks in anything because I normally forget the combos or like the series of button presses I have to make to
I'll
do a
like latch
combo.
on to some early combos, and then when I learn them in like Act 3, I'm like, I'm not using that one. That's not
Sorry.
going to happen.
If I unlock something in a skill tree, 80% of the time I'll forget that I've unlocked it, and then I will never use it. Similarly, in skill trees, I never go down just one. I dot around like crazy. And I've always done it in Borderlands and everything. There's like skills all over the shop, and it annoys my boyfriend more than I think it should. Because he'll look at my skill trees and he's like, why have you done that? And I'm like,
What is your build?
I wanted extra health, but that was in the other skill trees. So I had to go down. It annoys him so much. So those are things there's definitely more things I refuse to do in games, but those are just a few of them for sure.
It's difficult to write them all. I thought of several more since we've been having this conversation.
Yeah, I have too.
Like I never leave a room in the games where there are potentially pickups without exploring every single
Skirting
drawer.
around the
Yeah,
wall.
skirting around everything. If there's a way I can go and a way I should go, I go the way I can go first every time. Anyway, in terms of things that I don't ever do, or not necessarily ever. Again, this is like 4 games that I'm not as invested in necessarily. I will not bother with side stuff sometimes, like collectibles or optional, like arenas, like combat arenas. Not interested in that whatsoever.
I hate combat.
Side
arenas.
quests are fine, but I think more and more, especially actually Horizon is my most recent touchstone for this. They don't make you do this stuff anymore. Like, especially if there's no major incentivization, like trophies or a huge amount of XP or a really cool piece of armor that I really want, I'm not really gonna like. It's rare that I'll see a game. I'll see every single thing in a game because life is too short. There's too much going on in that game already. And if I arrive at a village and someone says, "Hey, can you go get my sheep?" I'm gonna say no because I'm actually really busy trying to save the world.
See, I would never say no to a side quest. Like I will do every single side quest, but I won't do like battle arenas or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If I don't have to, I won't do them. But if there's an icon on my map that's like a side quest, or if it's in my mission log, there is a side quest, I have to do it.
Well,
I
see,
have to finish it.
I will sometimes actively avoid side quest givers if I've got more than 3 or 4 active in my log. And I know that I will do it eventually, but I'm like, I don't want 10 side quests in my log. And I don't want the one that I started literally like 2 weeks ago and then forgot about. I don't want to like go back and that person's house is still on fire and I'm like, here's the water, because that is kind of immersion breaking if nothing else.
Yeah.
So I like to just do accept side quests when I've got the time for them. I'm like, I'm in the market for side quests. I go and speak to that person. Otherwise, I'll just ignore them and say, I'll come back later.
I collect every single side quest I encounter and then do them as what's closest to where I am.
There are always exceptions to these.
Yeah.
I think the in terms of side quests, the one that bucks the trend for me is Borderlands games, where I will accept every single side quest that's available as soon as it's available and then do them in bulk based on the location that they're in, which I think is a unique thing that sort of Borderlands is good at compared to other RPGs potentially, because those areas are split up by loading screens. So it's just what is in this area. Okay, I've got 4 quests there. Let's go do all of those and then turning them all in at the same time.
Oh, it's good.
Forget
isn't
about it. That's good. That's good stuff
good
right
stuff.
there. But yeah, especially in bigger games, I just like side stuff. It's just gristle. on the steak. You know, I want to get to the meat of it because these games are so bloody big. And unless there's a trophy, I'm going to run past your burning house. I'm sorry. I got no time. Well, it's time for something a little bizarre.
Oh, a little strange, perhaps.
A little weird.
It's weird news.
Oh. It's weird news time. Time for some weird video game news. If you'd like to submit weird video game news to us, you can do so on Twitter and Facebook by responding to the relevant post at the early mark of the week. Early March? Tuesdays.
Early March
of the week. If you want to guarantee your name being mentioned in this section, however, you need to go to patreon.com/Team TripleJump and become a podcast producer such as
Nathan,
GY Goliath,
Nexus Polaris,
Duncan Wilson,
Nicole Hansen,
that's me, Ellie Nicholas,
Gabrielle Philippink,
Melody L. Monet,
Katie Garrett,
and Blake Thomas.
Thank you,
Thank you, podcast producers. I always forget to do that. You two say it in sync, and then I go, thank you, podcast producers.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, podcast producers. Peter, have you got some weird news?
I have. It was sent in by Jason R at KOTWM on Twitter.
Oh.
It's according to SegaBits.com, which is what happens when you smash up your Sega. You just get Sega bits everywhere, and it's really bad.
You do.
And it was written on the 26th of February by Big Elk.
Big Elk, huh?
Big Elk.
Yeah, I'm not sure who that is.
Graced by his presence.
Hey, first article I get to write in 2023, finally. Sega Bits
he's getting
appears
some work.
not to be a very highly professional outlet.
Not necessarily.
No.
And, you know, he's a big elk. He's been busy doing winter
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah,
hasn't he?
that's right. Probably hibernating or something. Is that what you just said? Hibernating?
No.
Oh, okay.
Did
That's
you
the
say
word
hibernate? What are we doing?
I don't think I
Hibernating?
said anything.
Okay.
Who's hibernating? Big elk is.
Hey, first article I get to write in 2023, finally. I've not given you the headline.
No.
Bits, the Sega bits.
Sega in the media, : pro wrestler knocked out with a Sega Dreamcast? Question mark?
Question mark?
Pro wrestling fans who tuned into... This is what it says. Okay. Pro wrestling fans who tuned into to Impact Wrestling's recent No Surrender event on February 24th, 2023 were in for quite a shock when it came time for the match between Joe Hendry and Quinn Moose Ojinaka.
Moose.
We
like a big elk.
know that one.
We do know that one. I made a music video for Joe Hendry.
Yes. Did you? Yes.
Yeah, I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you?
Did you?
Joe pulled out all the stops in this climactic battle, using a variety of unlikely objects as weapons against the mighty Moose, including a remote-controlled toy car, a computer keyboard, and a Sega ... Dreamcast?
I'd rather they used those objects than barbed wire and stuff like that.
That's dangerous.
Broken glass.
The next sentence says, yeah, you telling me you would have done the same if you were in his shoes?
He's had some time off. He's a bit rusty.
Oh, Big Elk.
He's Big Elk, come on.
Oh, man.
Indeed, during this match, Moose attempted to taunt reigning champion Joe Hendry by flipping the bird at him. And he did it so this is important context. He did it in that way where you wind it up. I'll do it with my index.
Whoa, like a 90s movie.
Yeah, like that.
Pretty cool.
So he did that, and in immediate response, Joe responded in kind by pulling out the beloved 128-bit Dream Machine and flipping the lid, i.e. opening the Dreamcast's disk drive lid. So he held it up and he pressed the button and it went Bing. Like that in the same way as the finger, you see?
That's
right,
great.
Okay.
So he got him back. Moose, foolishly not intimidated by this display of awesome, undeniable power, rushed in for a lariat.
Yes.
Joe simply ducked beneath Moose's attack and countered by slamming the Dreamcast in Moose's face, not once, but twice, before putting it down to finish the fight without it. And in case you were wondering, Joe won the match and continues to hold on to the championship belt, and rightfully so.
Come on, Joe.
When you have a Sega Dreamcast, you're always a winner. So, on behalf of Sega Bits and Sega fans around the world, I congratulate Joe Hendry on his amazing victory and wish him the best in his future brawls.
Yours sincerely.
Yeah.
Big Elk.
Oh, there is actually more to it. When I read this upstairs, I don't think it had loaded all the article. Let me just see if anything else. Sega Bits does not recommend bludgeoning anyone with a Dreamcast. We instead recommend using a Sega Saturn. It's bigger, heavier, and can also flip its lid. And Segata Sanshiro will be proud. And with that, I leave you with this fitting edit of Joe's Dreamcast attack. And they've embedded a tweet, which I'm not going to press play on. So there you go.
Wow.
Joe Hendry.
And the local hero.
Local hero.
That was weird.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have
Pretty weird.
some news as well.
Go on.
It comes from Lloyd Williams. And the main reason I wanted to read this is because it's just such a non-article that I just thought it was weird.
It's weird that they wrote it,
Yeah.
maybe,
Oh.
more than
Yeah.
the story.
Comes from Nintendo Life. Random! Shigeru Miyamoto's comments on what Nintendo will be like without him. Hint, it won't change much.
Sick. End of article.
That's it. It's hard to overstate just how much of an impact Shigeru Miyamoto has had on Nintendo and the gaming industry at large. Indeed, without him, there would be no Mario, Zelda, Donkey Kong, Star Fox, F-Zero, Pikmin, IP that, quite frankly, have made Nintendo what it is today.
All Wii music.
Yeah, so it's hard to imagine just what the company would be like without him. Thankfully, Miyamoto himself has a pretty good idea. In an interview with NPR, thanks Nintendo everything, Miyamoto spoke
You're
about
welcome,
the
Nintendo
impact
Live.
of Nintendo's games and how they have managed to capture the hearts of so many before moving on to what Nintendo might eventually look like without him. Is he retiring or something? Have I missed it?
No, he's just talking
Just
because
saying.
he's like 70. He was just
Right.
talking about it.
You know,
I'll be dead soon.
I really feel like it's
When
not going...
gone, don't. What is it? Oh God, it's completely butch dick. Carry on, Ashton. Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
You know, I really feel like it's
Eminem.
not going to change. It's probably going to be the same. There's, people at the executive team, creators within the company, and also people who create Mario. They all have the sense of what it means to be Nintendo. And so it's not like it's going to be a lot of different opinions that go back and forth. Everyone has an understanding, this kind of shared understanding of what it is to be Nintendo. And so even when there's new ideas that come up, there's always the fact that it's a new idea, but also the fact that it has to be the essence of Nintendo or not. It's like when a Soldier Boy said Atari like 1,000 times. And I think that's something that, we have this incredible shared vision, almost a little scary shared vision about this. So I think there won't, it's not going to change. So basically, then they carry on for another 2-3 paragraphs, and that's it. That's it. Why did they make an article about that? That's weird, isn't it?
He's probably right in that you might worry what something like The Last of Us would be like if a bunch of the team left, or something that has only had a couple of entries, something that's not that old, or Horizon, something like that. But Nintendo as a family and as an IP, there's just so much content that has been put out over the years that it's not like the magic formula is still hidden away in the back of like one artiste's mind.
Yeah.
It's actually out there, and there's that much to go at that
I'm also
it's a shared
curious
vision.
as like why they asked him about it anyway. They were like, so you're going to die soon.
Yeah.
What's it going to look like once you die? That's
He's
not
going to retire before he dies,
Yeah.
probably.
maybe. But he's in his 70s now. Like, he needs to
Yeah.
lie down.
I'm sure he lies down.
I do wonder how much that he actually is involved now, or if they just roll him out for the snaps.
It's difficult to say. Yeah, he might have more of a PR role these days, but I imagine he still has a lot of insight and works closely with the teams, but maybe in a less hands-on way than he used to. But you're right. Like Nintendo is several generations deep now. We're probably 2 or 3 generations of developers in who grew up playing Nintendo games,
Yeah.
so everybody knows what's going on. It's not like
They're not
someone
going to come out
work
with
for-
Mario's like it has a sex scene in the next Mario.
Well, we can all hold
We
out
can
hope.
hope.
Yeah,
we
fingers
can
crossed.
hope that happens, but it's not like someone leaving the top of an Ubisoft studio, because that they could make. I mean, they don't make many different things, but
No.
that's a bad. You know what? Actually, that's a bad example. But it's not.
Who's going to put the map markers on now?
No, Shigeru.
The
come
question
back.
marks.
Also, life expectancy in Japan, I believe, is pretty high. So
Yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
doing all right. Eating a
he's
lot
got
of fish.
30 years left in him.
They're
Eating
going
a
to
lot of
load him
rice.
into an AI, and he's going to live forever.
Yeah.
Delicious. I've got a weird news.
Oh yeah.
This is from Cameron Keywood at Cameron_Keywood on Twitter. This is from VG247, written by Dom Peplet. And they have said
Peplet.
Peplet. And no, Pepiat. Sorry, Pepiat. And they've
Peplet
said
is
Peplet.
a small pep.
Why I Pet Final Fantasy 16's gonna have Geordies in it. Hadaway Man, as if the Japanese developers at Square Enix looked to the British North to find inspiration for one of its key fictional regions. Was my accent good? I've lived here for a while now.
It was really good.
I was intrigued by how they spelled Y-I Man in the headline of that because it's
We-I.
W-E-Y.
That's
Is that
not right.
Is that right?
I would have said
I
it would have
don't
been
know.
W-Y-E-Y-I.
Oh, there's an additional secret subject header that says Ganning Yem.
Ganning Yem.
That's fun. If you're not familiar, that means going home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 16 is very British. It's very much the sort of game that comes after the blockbuster TV success of Game of Thrones. Everything is bleak. There are lots of big battles. Your main character has a direwolf type pet that's bound to him by blood, and there are pissed off Yorkshiremen everywhere. The developers, in an interview with VG247, were candid about the inspiration Game of Thrones had on the title. It's popular fantasy fiction that dealt with its political and interpersonal themes adeptly. Of course, it was going to be impactful. In an hour-long demo of the game, I played as protagonist Clive as he fought his way through...
Clive.
Yes, I know. That is very Japanese.
Cloud. Clive.
As he fought his way through one of the early game dungeons. Companion character, the AI-controlled Sid, was at our side the whole way through.
Sid spelled, I would say, not the English way.
No, Sid is in every Final Fantasy
CID.
game, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
There's always a Sid.
That's a staple. Sid is played by the gravel-voiced Yorkshire actor Ralph Ineson. He's just an innocent Ralph.
It's just a normal Ralph.
Who you may recognize as Dagmar Cleftjaw in Game of Thrones or William in The Witch.
Dagmar Cleftjaw. Who the hell
Dagmar
is that?
Cleftjaw. I have no idea. You could show me a photo of him and I'd know who he is,
I'm
but I don't know
gonna
who
Google
these
it.
people. Don't tell me their
Dagmar
names.
Cleftjaw.
He sounds like he's been smoking 20 a day since he was 6 or using Pebble Dash as mouthwash, and it really suits his character, a gruff, disenfranchised knight looking despairingly on at the crumbling world around him.
Oh, I recognise this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, him. Chris Finch from The Office,
Yes.
who does the Dacia adverts. The Dacia range.
Yes.
He has got a very low voice.
That's good. That was a good impression. One thing that we wanted to do right from the beginning was get the tone of the fantasy right, says localization director, you ready for this good name? Michael Christopher Koji Fox. Michael Christopher Koji Fox.
Oh.
His first
Koji
name is
Fox.
hyphenated, Michael Christopher, and then it says Koji Fox. Michael Christopher Koji Fox. Michael Christopher
The most
Koji Fox.
English
Stop saying
surname
his
ever.
name
Michael
over and over
Christopher Koji
again.
Fox.
Koji Fox.
When we ask him why the team focused so specifically on this sort of British high fantasy in Final Fantasy 16, there is and I read this article, by the way, and it made me so happy because he identifies so many issues that I feel like I'm the only person who takes issue with in so many games. There is the tendency to go, oh, it's fantasy, let's make it British English, but then it's just kind of all over the place. International audiences might hear it and think, yeah, okay, but people from the UK will hear a line or something and think, there is no way that person would actually say that, or that's just an American doing a terrible UK accent.
That annoys me all the
Mate.
time.
Mate, oh, Ciaran, mate. We didn't want that to happen. We wanted to create something that was going to feel authentic for everyone, especially the players and people in the UK. Those players that are familiar with the different accents. And so when deciding on accents for the different areas we made, we have our rules. People from Dalmatia are going to have this type of accent, and we would get voice actors that specialized in those accents or are from those areas. There are a variety of warring nation states across the vast crystal-powered land of Valistia. It lists some of them now. I'm going to skip through this.
Where the Geordies live.
So there's a lot going on, and it's important to Michael Christopher Koji Fox and the rest of the development team that each realm has its own unique identity, and that goes beyond visual aesthetics and imagery. We decided that people from the north are going to be Geordie, laughs Fox. We got a bunch of great Geordie actors. We have some characters that will, you're going to be hearing this great Geordie accent, and this is really, really deep and serious game. But it works so well. It works because we didn't want it to be gimmicky. We wanted it to be something that fit the world and felt consistent throughout. So it's not just the one random Geordie in the middle of the game for no reason. People from this area are all using this pronunciation, and people from this area are all using this other pronunciation, so that if you listen really closely, you can tell by, the dialect dialect that characters using. Oh, this character is from Sandbreek. This character is from Dalmekia.
I personally would really like there to have been only one Geordie in the game, and you have to find him.
Yeah.
So it goes on
Yeah.
like that, but that fills me. Not only is that a great headline that we might find Michael Jugson in the middle, in the north of Final
Doing
Fantasy
mad
16.
stunts on his
Yeah.
pedal.
But that there's going to be some consistency throughout, because even if you're not from the UK, you can hear the difference in regional accents, and having them localized to areas only makes sense. The article goes on to say that they're even like including idioms and metaphors that are unique to certain areas that they've localized
Are
properly.
they going to say, would you like a bap? Would you like a roll?
Yeah,
bread
they're going to be
A bread cake?
6 different terms for a bread roll. Who knows? But Geordie's Final Fantasy 16 confirmed. It reminds me a bit of The Witcher 3 and what they did so well, where there was that one town that was full of people from Birmingham. It was amazing. It was so good. And then there weren't any others.
Oh my God.
It was brilliant.
But the Birmingham land.
That was one of the main
Could you
big things I
imagine?
liked.
Fantasy.
One of the big things I liked about The Witcher
Oh, you
was how
Clive.
good the localization was. And, that's great. We're going to have Geordies in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
How exciting.
I
Very
hope there's
exciting.
lots of bridges where they're from.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kitty wakes.
Oh, God.
So many pooing
There'll
birds.
be final bosses, I think. It's time for question 3.
It's from Michael Milan, who says, "Hi-o, Bap. My girlfriend is unable to play first-person games, as over prolonged time they make her nauseous. We looked into it, and it turns out it's not uncommon. What's interesting to see is how games like the new Resident Evils show off the ability to have first-person and third-person modes, though this is touted more as a neat feature than a matter of accessibility. Should more games offer multiple perspective options for the sake of accessibility? Are some games inherently tied to their perspective?" Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
I think options are always a good thing. It's an answer that we've given for different questions over the years we've been doing this podcast. I mean, the more the merrier, being able to play with different perspectives and with different, whether we're talking accessibility or not, even just, being able to customize your HUD or do whatever you like. Womp. Yeah, is all great. Obviously, some options aren't possible because there's just not the development time to add certain things in. But in this case, I mean, I've played games that offer first and third person modes. I remember the one that for some reason immediately comes to mind is Battlefront. Star Wars Battlefront had the option to go third person.
Bethesda RPGs as well.
Bethesda RPGs, yeah, you're right. I don't think I've ever played those in third person.
No.
It does not work.
It's not good. No.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a developer, so I don't know how much extra work it is to actually implement that as an option. I have seen on Boundary Break how first-person shooters are done, where you do literally have a gun hovering with a hand on it, and it's not necessarily where you would expect it to be in relation to your character model. So if you're in a multiplayer first-person game like Halo, for example, you can have two models looking at each other, and you can see that model holding a gun, but the gun that they're seeing from their perspective is like up here or like over here for the illusion. So there's probably a lot more that goes into it. Well, I know there is a lot more that goes into it than simply just moving the camera up to the eyes. So if it's possible, it should definitely be an option, especially given that there is this accessibility issue with people getting nausea from it. So I think that's worth doing wherever possible. But are some games inherently tied to their perspective? Certainly in terms of immersion they can be, but I can't think of a game immediately that comes to mind that would be completely ruined if you took it out of first person and went into third person. I'm sure there are a couple that mechanically are tied to the first person, but you lose a bit of immersion, but probably a lot of games it's still going to be engaging to play in third person, I would imagine.
I've had very much the same thought of I couldn't think of a game where if you weren't playing it in first person, it would actively ruin the experience. Apart from VR games, but if you get motion sick from first person, probably not playing VR games.
Moss is one of the few exceptions, isn't it, where you're sort of playing in third person.
Yeah, and you're
true.
kind of stationary, so it's not as bad.
You're like
I guess there are some
person.
there would be some first person perspective based puzzle games where you have to look and line up and there are
Portal
some.
wouldn't work, I don't think.
No, I mean
probably
you
not,
could still.
no.
A portal would make
I'll,
you feel sick for several other reasons. though,
Yeah.
Well,
probably.
yeah. I mean, the camera actually going through the portal would be tricky, but yeah, there are some first-person puzzle-based games where you have to actually look at a scene,
Like
and,
Superliminal.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so that wouldn't. Really
Yeah,
work.
but there's like the vast majority of kind of like those first-person games that, like the Resident Evils, for example,
Yeah.
work just as well in third person as they do in first person. The fact that like, you know, that you can play Village now in third person, it doesn't necessarily take away, but like sometimes it takes away maybe a little bit of the spook factor, and maybe it's not quite as like, you know, intense when they're like actively speaking to your character or doing stuff in the just general playing, not in the cutscenes. But I like most of the time you're probably fine to play in third person. If you can play the originals in third person, they're still scary, so like you don't lose that much. But I do think it would benefit like people in general to be able to change perspective. And like I say, a lot of games do have that ability to play in different perspectives, which is great. But I mean, a lot of story games that I really like, a lot of narrative games are in third person. Your God of Wars, your Horizons, your Last of Us's. There's not as many first person games in general that I play that I'm like really upset that it's not in third person or vice versa. Like most of the time, I just like how it comes. But yeah, I think that there should be more offers for changing perspectives for people.
I agree. You know, games should be available to as many people as possible. I do think that it's perhaps one of the more challenging things for developers to integrate purely as an accessibility feature, because it's not out of the realm of possibility. And a lot of games, as you guys have said, have first and third person modes. However, those aren't there for the sake of accessibility. They're just there to offer up an alternative viewpoint. If it were to be developed with accessibility in mind, that would probably add on a lot of development time, and the budget would increase a great deal as well, I imagine, as well. Just if it was not planned from the start and it was just, you know, we're going to include this for accessibility's sake. That's not to say we won't get there, because look how far we've come just in the past few years alone in terms of accessibility features. However, I would say that I do think that it's rare for a game to offer first and third person perspectives, and for that first and third person perspective to be as good as a game that has a dedicated first person perspective or a dedicated third person perspective. Almost like, you know, you are kind of splitting the resources. You're splitting how your game is played, and some, you know, first person really immersive games, I think, would suffer a bit in third person. Again, doesn't mean it shouldn't be offered as an alternative and that it's recommended you play in first person if you want the intended experience, but it is going to require a great deal of problem solving on the developer's part to even potentially make that work in the first place. And I appreciate that people like Michael's girlfriend, who can't play these first person games at all, are not missing out on the first person experience because they're not able to play it even a little bit. So there's no reason why you could, apart from the reasons that we've all stated, that you couldn't offer both and just say, hey, the first person perspective is what we're advertising, that is the intended experience, but there is a third person perspective version that's admittedly not quite as good, but it will mean that you're still able to experience the game in some fashion.
Yeah. Also, if you're a PC player, a lot of the time there's like mods that make first person third person or third person first person, so there's options. And also, like, I wonder what it is that makes people feel nauseous in first person, and whether like adjusting things like the FOV would help. Like, it's an interesting
motion blur and things like that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to kind of like, what is it about first person? Because I know like it happens to some people, but it's strange that it doesn't always happen. Like, my boyfriend gets really bad motion sick, but he can play fine in VR, which is weird.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
A lot of people have to turn off the walking thing. Where you just
I mean, I do
teleport to your
too,
location
because
in VR, but
I prefer that. But
I'm fine, like genuinely fine with that. I don't like because there's lots of options. You know, they're still trying to solve that in VR. There's lots of options where you're either teleporting or you're rotating at angles, like you're just clicking.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
No, I prefer to have it
Resident
as
Evil did
smooth
that.
as possible. Like I'm really genuinely okay with that, and a lot of people aren't, and it's a really difficult thing to solve for. But I haven't heard about the first person, just generally first person making people feel unwell before. Well, it's time to move on to something rather large. I hope you're all ready. It's called The Big Discussion.
It's the big discussion.
It's the big discussion.
It's big discussion time. Time for the big video game discussion. This week coming courtesy of Jens Herman, who says, "Hi there, boy, girl, and boy. We recently had a Pokemon Presents with the long-awaited Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Sleep being finally revealed. The 5 people who like the idea outside of the memes are finally happy. What do you think of a game that plays itself while you sleep? I think it goes too far. Gaming time is gaming time and napping time is napping time. I also think that after using it like 3 times, people will get bored. Kiss, kiss, and bye-bye."
Thanks, Jens.
Thank you, Jens. So I've got a little itinerary here of the things that were announced at Pokemon Presents. By all accounts, quite disappointing.
Can I just say, I was reading through these articles and there was like 4 or 5 things that they were talking about that I have never heard of before.
Me too. Is that by any chance Pokemon Unite?
Yeah.
Pokemon Cafe?
Yeah.
And Pokemon Masters X?
Yes.
Yes. No, I'd not heard of those either. I'll get into those in a second.
Okay.
But yeah, there was not a lot that people really wanted.
No.
The highlight, I think, for most people was the DLC announcement for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Sleep, which we will get into momentarily.
Yes.
So here we go. The Pokemon World Championships date was announced. A legendary Pokemon Zacian or Zacian from Pokemon Sword is officially coming to MOBA, Pokemon Unite. Pokemon Cafe Remix is getting DLC based on Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. 6 new classic Pokemon trainers are appearing in a rally in Pokemon Masters X, which is apparently a mobile gacha strategy game. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are getting DLC, delivering 2 major story expansions to the games later this year. The first will be available in autumn and is called The Teal Mask. Additionally, Pokemon Go Plus was announced. The new gadget is designed to work with Pokemon Sleep and, of course, Pokemon Go, and will be available on July the 21st this year. A Pikachu inside the device will sing players lullabies and get friendlier the more sleep the trainer gets.
It was horrible.
As for its Pokemon Go functionality, the device will finally... No.
Why isn't it a Jigglypuff?
The device, that's a great point. The device will finally allow players to catch Pokemon and spin Pokestops automatically, a feature that's otherwise only been available through third-party alternatives.
I have so many questions about how that's going to work.
What's that?
Because it says you don't even have to get your phone out. How do you know you're at a Pokestop? How do you know you got to throw a ball?
It's
How
plus,
do you know
plus.
that?
It's got that plus technology.
Plus.
Plus.
Finally, originally announced in 2019 and slated for a 2020 release, Pokemon Sleep was officially re-revealed during the event with a release window of summer 2023. The app will track your sleeping patterns and will show you different sleep styles of the many different pocket monsters you can encounter in the game. It aims to turn sleeping into entertainment by having a player's time spent sleeping and the time they wake up affect the gameplay, letting players wake up with Pokemon every morning.
Oh.
So this is for children.
Yeah.
The advert did not have any children
It had
in it.
adults.
It had fully grown adults in it. They have done things like this before with their the teeth cleaning game app thing as well, which is obviously intended for children. You know, it's meant to incentivize that, and potentially this could incentivize children to go to sleep. Again, though, they sort of know the kind of people who are going to use this app, and it's fully grown people.
Yeah.
What? Why?
I don't know. And I don't understand how this works because it's one of 2 things that's happening here, and both of them I don't like. Either it is not actually picking up any biorhythms or anything because it was just a little pokey
I don't think it
button
is.
in
I
his
think
bed.
it literally you press it, say, I'm going to sleep.
I'm going to sleep, and then you press it when you wake up, in which case I could just cheat if I wanted to, or I could, it's not going to be super accurate. And what happens if I'm lying awake all night?
Yeah.
For 6 hours, and then I press it when I get up in the morning because I've not slept. What do I get? 6 hours worth of? Hey, you slept for 6 hours. So if that is how it works, that's a bit rubbish.
You just get Pikachu singing you lullabies for 6 hours.
So if that's how it works, that's rubbish. Or alternatively, if it was in some way like
monitoring your sleep.
Yeah, if it had like a microphone, it was like listening to your breathing or whatever. Then that's a little bit sinister, and I don't really like the idea of that. So either way, this just seems a bit stupid.
The only part of it that I didn't like is when they said they're making sleep entertainment or entertainment for your sleep or something. That filled me with
Gamify sleep.
like
That's what I wrote in my
dystopian
notes. Yeah.
fear that I was like, no, actually, I don't want you to gamify my sleep, thanks.
It's gimmicky.
It's already hard enough to sleep with all the distractions of the world. Anyway, I don't need to also have Pikachu singing me to sleep because I want to get a Snorlax.
I'm
or
not
whatever.
trusting this bloody app to wake me up with the Pokemon alarm. It's going to crash.
The poke alarm.
The poke alarm. It's going to flip in crash at like 3 a.m, and it's not going to wake me up.
Yeah.
I'm not keeping this app that will make my phone hot.
Yeah.
All night.
It will burn
open.
Snorlax into your
I'm
screen.
not going to do that. There's already apps that do that. Like I think most iPhones have it built in. You can like do a sleep tracking thing, and it will like monitor the quality of the sleep you're getting. I'm concerned enough about what Apple is doing with that data.
Yeah.
Why does Professor Oak need to know how well and how long I'm sleeping for? What are they going to do with this information? It's really weird.
Pass it on to. Are they going to sell it to people? You know?
Presumably you have to opt into that stuff at the start when you open it. But I have a little more information about how it actually works from Pokemon Sleep's website.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself struggling to get energized in the morning? Has the same old bedtime routine grown tiresome?
No.
No. Now you can turn your sleep into entertainment with Pokemon Sleep. Playing this game is simple. Just place your smartphone by your pillow, then go to sleep. Just like that, waking up in the morning becomes something to look forward to.
Jesus
God,
Christ.
Pokemon, I wish I had never woken up. Your adventure takes place on a small island where you'll carry out research on how Pokemon sleep. You'll work with large Snorlax who live on the island and Neroli, a professor who's studying Pokemon sleep styles.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is it a game if all you have to do is sleep?
No.
No.
No, it's
Because, like, they're like, the playing of the game is just sleeping. Well, what do I do once I've slept and they've got the Pokemon?
Well, how
You
else
wake
are they
up
going to
and it
answer?
says,
Do I just turn the app off for
You slept
12
6
hours and then at the night time I say, oh, got to play my
But if they
Pokemon?
don't call it a game, they'll have to be honest about what it is, which is an app that tracks and collects information about how much you're sleeping and is just an alarm.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. Rest your very best, it says. Place your smartphone by your pillow when you go to bed to record and measure your sleep. The longer you sleep, the higher your score in the morning, and the more Pokemon you'll see appear around Snorlax. Your nights of sleep will be classified as one of 3 sleep styles: dozing, snoozing, or slumbering, which are all synonyms. And in the morning, Pokemon that sleep in similar ways will come gather around Snorlax. You may even discover a Pokemon sleeping in a rare style you'd never even get to see normally, it says. Each Pokemon has a number of different sleep styles, so see how many you can discover to complete your sleep style dex.
Is there a Pokemon that has cats that will have was woken up multiple
in the
times
face.
by cats? Yeah.
Meowth, yeah.
I now have a question. If
Yes.
I press I am going to sleep,
Yeah.
And then don't press I've woken up for 2 days,
There's a
will
cool
it phone an
999,
ambulance?
yeah.
for-
I don't know. What if you say you're going to sleep and then get on the metro?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
What's it going to do?
What if you're having a nap in the middle of the day? And by that I mean, what if I have to do work for an hour and
Yes.
I press the sleep button? Do I come back in an hour with,
Have you done well?
yeah, did I do well? And does it, because it doesn't say it records, and what's the phrase that it uses? It records and measures your sleep. or
records and measures, which implies it's doing something.
something. Is that what it says?
Hang on, I'm gonna find out. Yes, go to bed to record and measure your sleep.
And there was a little graph on it. At some
Yeah,
point.
and there was like different things. It's like how do you sleep, but how does it know if I'm dozing, slumbering, or whatever?
Snoozing.
Snoozing.
I think
how
that might
does
just
it
be
know?
the duration of how long you're asleep.
Yeah,
for.
because this is the thing. Like, one, if you're gonna do something, do it properly, and if you're gonna steal our data about sleep, do it properly.
Be honest about
you
it.
know,
Just,
commit to
yeah,
it.
Do TikTok too.
Might as well
Yeah.
just film me as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Why not? Set it up so Snorlax
They're
can
like-
watch me sleep.
In order to get to know that you're sleeping, you have to set up a camera that points at your face
Yes.
to prove that you're sleeping, which someone will watch to make sure. And if like you are gonna do this stupid thing, then like don't make it so goddamn creepy. Like do like focus.
I don't
while
think
your
there's
your
not
phone
a way
will-
to make it not
No,
creepy.
but if you're doing like instead of doing your sleep, say like
Do a
while
step
you're
counter or
focusing.
something.
Yeah, well that's what
Oh, yeah.
Pokemon Go is, isn't
Well,
it?
yeah.
But like if your phone is open on the Snorlax app,
Yes.
and while that's happening, you can't use your phone, and it's
Yeah.
like congrats, you focused for 2 hours without using your phone.
I was on my desktop.
I was doing that, but they don't know that.
No.
And like now you've got a little Pikachu that when you press the button, it'll go, congratulations, you focused. Pika.
Because
I don't want to be asleep.
I can guarantee that day one there will be dozens and dozens of help and guide articles telling you how to unlock the different sleep styles and the sort of movements that you should be doing.
And exactly, like, you have to press the button, go to sleep for 4 hours and 20 minutes.
Because
and
it's gamified. Because you've got to discover all the sleep styles to complete your sleep style deck.
So it's encouraging you to not sleep well on some
to sleep in
days.
different ways. It's also encouraging you to never wake up because, the longer you sleep, the higher your score, apparently. And as for Pokemon Go++, researching Pokemon sleep styles is even easier when you use Pokemon Go++, which allows you to keep track of your sleep with the press of a button. Pokemon Go++ uses Bluetooth low-energy technology to link with Pokemon Sleep. When it's time for bed, just hold the device's central button, place it by your pillow, and then go to sleep. Not only will Pokemon Go++ help measure your sleep data, but Pikachu's familiar voice can give you cute prompts when it's time to wake up or go to sleep.
I'm sorry, Pikachu is not going to wake me up. Every morning I sleep through 5 alarms that play music out of my Spotify that I've picked a specific song that is like hardcore, so it wakes me up. And every day I sleep through 6 of them. There ain't no way that Pikachu going, hey,
Time to wake up.
Pika.
Oh,
Wake your ass
never
up.
mind. You go back to sleep.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Looks like you're slumbering.
And also,
Dozing.
if doze is an option, who the flip is like, oh, I just need 40 minutes. I'm knackered. I'm just gonna have a quick. Oh, where's my Pokemon Go plus? I
need it.
I'm knackered. Where is it?
If I doze, I need to catch the whatever Squirtle.
Ponyta.
Yeah.
Gotta sleep with
Squirtle
the
only
Squirtle.
dozes. Ridiculous.
It's out in the summer.
I'm going to download
When it does release, we will do a podcast where it's sat on the desk and we will see.
We'll sleep for 2 hours.
We'll just see what happens. But what do you think? Are you going to get Pokemon Sleep? It's certainly, it's inoffensive
It's a
in
thing.
that it's not going to cost money, probably, and you could take it or leave it. It's obviously designed for kids, but you can't deny that it's a bit strange. So let us know if you're going to let the Pokemon company have your sleep data in the comments below. Also, let us know what you thought of the other things that we discussed today. Peter is going to tell you some places that we're available on the internet if you want to get involved.
YouTube.com and twitch.tv/Team TripleJump videos on YouTube and streams on both. And when we're streaming on both, we are modded by Lord Rotovich, Trolling Badger, and Mr. Black. So thanks, guys.
Thank you.
If you've got Amazon Prime, part of the bundle that you're paying for right now already includes a Twitch sub, which you can spend on us, and then you get all the usual benefits of being subscribed at no extra cost. Twitter.com and Facebook.com/Team TripleJump for video and live stream announcements, legacy video content, Twitch stream highlights of the week, bits of weird news, loads of stuff. It's all put there by Fraser. Thank you, Fraser.
Thank you, Fraser.
Thank you, Fraser.
TikTok.com/@Team TripleJump if you want to look at our TikToks and again provide data to
Whoever.
generally the Asian area. It's not
The
Japan,
Chinese
it's
Communist Party.
The Chinese Communist Party, which is different to the Pokemon Company legally speaking, but geographically,
it is
east of here.
It is east of here or west of here, depending
Or west of
on
here.
how far
Yeah.
you go.
Um,
Unless you think the world is flat. The world is flat. The Earth is
the globe is flat.
Unless you
What
think the blue
are we
ball is flat. I
talking
don't
about
know.
now?
All right.
Patreon.com/Team TripleJump if you want to pay actual money for this rubbish.
Hey,
whoa.
Come on now.
No, please do. If you support us on Patreon, we'll get better.
We can't make that promise.
There are loads of tiers available with lots of different rewards.
But there'll be more tiers if you don't listen
Yeah.
and support
No
us.
more
Look, I'm
tiers.
crying now.
Yeah. So head to Patreon and have a look at all the different options.
We have a website. It's triplejU.mp. Spells jumps very clever. If you want to join our Discord, go to triplej.mup/Discord. I'm modded by Jack, Joe, Tori, and Hollow Eyes on there. And if you do something, bloody well do it.
Also, don't come into the Discord and start posting weird stuff.
No.
yeah.
You're not technically breaking rules, but you're making everyone uncomfortable and you're on a watch list. We do
Yeah,
talk
we
about
watching
you.
you.
Yeah, we all
So
talk
just
about
behave.
you
Yeah.
on the regular.
But not in a good way, so don't do it for attention.
No, don't.
If you want to listen to the podcast in its audio forms, maybe if you want to go to sleep listening to this podcast and we can get your data about how well you dozed off. go to triplejet.map/podcast. And if you want to watch any of our live stream VODs, go to triplejet.map/VODs. To book a cameo from any of us and James Jenkins, go to triplejet.map/cameo. And if you want to buy some second call merch like this isn't available anymore, I don't think.
No, it's not. This was a limited time.
Oh, it's all the way.
There it is.
There it is. You can go to TripleJumpShop.com and make sure you're following at TripleJumpShop on Twitter.
Yes, indeed. Why not follow Peter and Ashton on Instagram and Twitter at that Peter Austin and at Scrambled Ashton, and myself just on Twitter at confused_dude. It's been 6 days since I've tweeted. Just got nothing to say.
It's been ages since I've Instagrammed, but
Really?
I do occasionally.
Do come and follow us, though. Numbers are important for some reason. Why not check out our list? That's not how I usually say it. We do them every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We also stream every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Thursday being the joint stream.
Blaze it.
On YouTube. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday being solo streams on Twitch. Worst Games Ever is fortnightly. Friday for patrons of a certain tier. Sunday for everyone else. The podcast is every Saturday. We do shows all the bloody time. Come check them out. Why not leave a 5-star review on your platform of choice? That's free. Doesn't cost anything, and it helps a lot. Something to do with Al Gore's rhythms. Thank you. A couple of things out this week, Ashton.
Yes, the March gaming forecast came out on Tuesday. That's everything, probably not every game ever that's coming out in March,
ones.
but the big ones that are coming out in March in one handy dandy video, including Game Pass and PlayStation Plus. So, hey, check that out.
Is that on the podcast feed yet?
No.
Okay, we'll sort that in a minute. It'll be on the podcast feed by the time you listen to this, but you
Yes.
should watch the video too. Peter?
We've also got a worst games ever. Damnation.
Bloomin' hell, you can't darn, thank you.
That darned nation. You know that one?
Yeah.
I think we say that in the video, so I'll stop. But you can go and check that out. Worst games ever, Damnation. We tried to play this game a while back, and it didn't go well. So, but we managed this time, and wow, it was. I wish we hadn't. So
It's our first Xbox 360 game that we've done at TripleJump.
And remember, it's too late now for this episode, but you can get this. You can get it on a Friday, yesterday, at time of release of this podcast, by being a patron of a certain tier.
But it's not too late, because if you wanted to, on
You can get it today,
Patreon,
actually.
Weirdest Games Ever is also available. It comes out next week for everyone else. And so it's on there now. So you should check it out if you want to.
Patreon.com/Team TripleJump. Peter, just enough time to tell us this week's sponsor again, please.
Yeah, if you want to play as the 23rd toucan rescued by the WWF this year, or I don't know, they probably rescued 23 toucans this year. You can play WWF Toucan 23 soon.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Sleep well, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.